Good morning YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the second video I'm shooting for today. A little bit later now, a bit of time has passed, I'm a little bit more woken up. It's still early in the morning, but welcome to the greenhouse. Today we're going to be working with Dracula orchids. Dracula orchids are one of my favorite species of orchids. I simply love them. For me, they're easy to maintain. They don't take much heat, they don't take much light. For our West Coast weather, they're absolutely perfect. They're easy to grow in a greenhouse condition. These guys like lots of humidity, lots of water, and as I say, only a little bit of light. In the summer, they're hidden away. In the winter, they kind of come up a little bit more. And as the weather cools, they get these beautiful blooms on them. This is a Dracula Transylvania. They're good sized blooms too, and they face down in a pot. The stems or the spikes actually come out the net pot, so we don't want to put them in a regular pot. But today I am going to be working with Dracula Transylvania. Here's little brother, big brother. We are going to be working with Dracula Vampira, one of my favorite plants. This one is Dracula Vampira Zorba, and it needs a repotting in a bad way. With Draculas, you really have to kind of pick your time for repotting. You can't always repot them because they're in spike a lot of the times, at least mine are, and they're always coming out the bottom of the pot, so you can't work with something when it's coming out the bottom of the pot very easily. Take this one for example. This is Dracula Wallacei, another beautiful one, kind of fuzzy looking as opposed to the Transylvania that wasn't. So you can see it's kind of fuzzy looking. It has spikes all out the bottom of the pot. At this point, this orchid could not be transplanted without breaking off all the spikes. And these things are actually sequential blooming, so they go for a long time. This one here is actually the second flower on it. You can see right there is an old flower spike. So these guys will bloom for months at a time. So you really do have to pick when is a good time to repot. And I've been waiting for a while for the Vampira here. And I think being it's only got a few little tiny spikes starting, now is a good time to repot this guy. So why don't I bring you down and we're going to repot it together. Okay, now that we're down here, let's get started. Things we're going to need, I'll show you the mix first. This is a mix primarily made up of sphagnum moss. There are some perlite and bark chunks in it just to add a little bit of aeration. I think I've made enough there. We're going to need one to take out the old moss. And so I always carry a couple trays. And then up here is a tub of water. I use that to rinse off the little bits of moss that are in the roots. So to start with, let's get started. Now this was a hanging one, so I'm going to remove my little hangers here. These guys, it's a necessity to make sure that they're hanging in a pot. I made a video on making these hanging little pots. If you want to see that video, be sure to check it out. I may or may not be able to put a link below because I may forget, but it is there, and the video is titled something like Making Hanging Orchid Pots. And I go through step by step on how we actually make these pots. So for now I'm going to remove the hanging thing. Get it all out of there. Oops. Put that down. And there it is. I have got off to the side a pair of sterilized scissors because I'm actually going to make a division of this if possible. So I get to see how these guys are divided as well. Put them on the tray. And let's see. While I'm removing the tag, just a reminder, always write when you repot this guy on there. Just put RP and then like the month and the year. That way you know how long it's lasted. Just going to give it a bit of a squeeze here. It's very, very root bound, so hopefully we can get it out. And the actual pot itself is very, very stiff as well. So hopefully he comes out pretty easy. I'm expecting just a big sort of mass of roots. I think some of these guys, unfortunately for the greater good, have to go. Slowly just keep squeezing and working. Now these guys would never be dry, but if you were working with a different orchid in the same situation, you want to make sure the roots are moist so they're flexible. Let's see here, look at all the roots coming off of that. There we go. So that is what Dracula roots look like. Lots of them go straight down. You can see how it misses the airy spots and goes down where there is more humidity down the sides. Quite interesting. Lots of new roots on there, so the new root tips there. The bark on the bottom. I'm not necessarily going to put them in a bigger pot. The reason I wanted to transplant this guy is after a few years of constantly being wet, it actually, the roots or the moss that the roots are in starts to acidify and break down. And if you wait too long, then all the acidic media is going to rot your roots, and then you're going to end up with dead roots instead of a healthy orchid. So it's better to be a little bit proactive. Do it while the orchid is still healthy. What I'm looking to do here is just get to the middle of the plant. All the roots are going to be around the outside edge, and I want to be able to get all this brown moss back out. Breaking a few roots won't hurt anything. Try not to do it too much though. By the looks of this, I'll be able to get a few different divisions out of it. I might just do that. We'll repot up one and you'll see how many divisions I get out of this guy. Alright, so that's about all that's going to get out of here for now. Let me try this method here. So this was plan B, but working with it in water will make it a whole lot easier to hopefully get out some of the media. There's not even that much media left in it. The roots have just sort of taken over everything. So, do that. This ended up being a big plant. Look at that. Great big plant. So, I don't know if there's any natural divisions to start dividing this guy. I didn't think I was going to be able to get so many divisions out of it. But we'll see what happens here. These are the kind of times that I don't know whether to keep you along or cut the camera. It's because it's not all that exciting. But you have to be a little bit careful. There's so many roots. But they are all so healthy. It's good to know that after a few years of growing like this, the roots are looking this good. Means we're doing something right. I know when I got these plants, they basically had no roots whatsoever. They were wobbly in the pot. I believe this guy was transplanted a couple of years back. Okay. It's not wanting to naturally just sort of pull apart, so give it another roots out there. You can see why having the water there is a good good way to do this, to loosen it all up. Now we're getting somewhere. Right into the middle of the plant now. Give it a little snip to start, see if that starts to break anything. And there we go. Couple natural divisions there. So there's one division. There's another division. See if I can get another couple off of this. Give it another rinse off. Bring it back out. And you see why I use trays. Keeps all the mess kind of contained a bit. That looks like a spot where there might be a natural sort of division. Now all these guys really need is a good 4 to 6 leaves. They're quite an easy to grow plant, really. As long as your conditions are good, these guys will grow quite easily. There we go. Now we're up to 3 divisions. And that looks like a nice plant right there. I might keep that one as the mother plant and see. This one looks like it could easily be divided again. I may lose a leaf using scissors, but that's okay. There are some good divisions. Now you can see what the water does. It just rinses them right off, cleans them right up. All right, so I have 2 large divisions and 2 small divisions. And that's good for now, I think. So what we're going to do is we're just going to replant one of these divisions. So I think we'll replant this one. This one's what I'm going to call the mother plant. It just is a nice looking plant. One of the bigger divisions, so I'll give it another final rinse off in the water. I know it's just off camera there, but really not that exciting. Now I'll bring it over to there. This media is quite dry right now. I have moistened it slightly, but I'm just going to use my little misting tool here and give it a little bit more moisture. A lot of the times I actually prefer to work with a dry media, but with Draculas I don't. There we go. So this guy's going to go back in the same pot. Definitely nothing wrong with that. The other divisions will go in similar, maybe smaller pots. And another thing I was finding with all that, the huge amount of roots that it had, it was very hard to keep it moist. So I'm going to put a nice little layer down below, just like so. Then I'm going to take the plant and I'm going to kind of fill the center like this. The roots are going to go around the outside. And being there's roots only sort of on one side of this, I'm going to just make a mound with them, surround the roots nicely, and stick this mound that is full of my perlite and bark, and I'm just going to sit it back in the pot. Now the Dracula is going to grow from all directions at once, so I'm going to plant it in the middle. If an orchid is growing with one specific direction, then I would plant it off to whatever side that direction might be. And there we go. I'll pack it in quite tight, just enough so that it's going to stay. And there we have it. A beautifully transplanted division of a Dracula. So that one, as I say, I'm still going to consider a mother plant. A little division of this would be something like 4 or 6 leaves, and it would still do good. When I got this, I don't think it had much more than that. So now be sure to give it a good watering. I'm going to soak it with the hose after I'm done filming. I'll give it a little bit of water now, just like so. I'm going to be sure to write on the tag. I don't have a pencil within reach, but I'll write on the tag when it's repotted and then stick the tag back in. And then I can reuse my hanging system here with the little hooks on it, and I'll hang it back up and it will be good to go. So I am going to work on those guys over there now, but I'll let you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. As always, thanks for watching.